Hey, what's up, Cosmetic family?
Welcome to the Cosmetic Podcast.
Cosmetic means being a person of theme that gives rise to a phenomenon that is dynamic or energizing.
We're tackling topics and telling the truth.
I'm Keith Benson.
And I'm Rodrigo Ross.
And so today, man, this is a good one. This is a good one. She is doing that because the title of this is Lion Mentality.
Roar.
Featuring the man, Bertram Lawson. This is a crossover event with Community Rec Magazine. Bertram Lawson II is the president and CEO of the YMCA of Central New York.
Yes.
Man is up there doing
and
things.
My friend and who I want to be when I grow up. Yes, indeed. Bertram Lawson.
And the growing up part, yes, you have a ways to
because
go.
I'm young. I received that.
Well, no, I'm not talking about an age because
don't let his negativity.
Oh, that is not negative.
Bertram. Don't let it.
Yes.
Welcome to the Cosmetic Podcast. We have been waiting so long.
I know,
yes.
Right?
Oh, we've been needing to talk to you for some time now, brother. And we are so excited you are here.
I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you, man. What is lion mentality? What does that mean? Tell us about, because we would start singing the song from the Lion. Ooh. We're gonna let you take it from here. I'm not sure if everybody wants to hear us sing it.
Well, just the mentality goes way back. So I'll start where it comes into play with my association. We all across the country are working back from COVID situations or ramifications. And what I've expressed to my staff team and our board is that we have to have a mentality of hunting. And what I mean by that is hunting for growth, prosperity, business development, expanding our territory and our reach within our region to ensure that we're impacting more people. And what I said to them is that I said a pack of lions, but it's really a pride of lions with me. I consider myself to be a lion and have this mentality that's really rich and born from my college days. I'm a graduate of the first historically Black college that granted degrees, Lincoln University, which is the mascot called the Lions. We are the Lincoln Lions. And from that experience, my university taught us about using our voice or roaring, being statuesque and how we show up in a room, how we ensure that we are impacting and bringing people along with us, i.e. our pride, how we are focused on elevating and being regal because the lion is the king of the jungle. So that mentality started there. It carries over to my association. And I have been pressing them, board and staff, that you have to have a hunger mentality. We are not hungry enough to do the work that we are charged to do as a YMCA in Central New York. So I need that mentality. I'm demanding that, and I am going to lead us in that way. And I did share with them, I have a lion tattoo somewhere on my person, and it's so I embody it fully.
You gonna tell us where?
We're gonna keep
right
it.
We're gonna get.
All right.
It's right here.
On his chest. Late for. I love that, and as a result, the piece that they did spotlighting you and the Central New York YN Community Rec Magazine is called just that, right? The pride of Central New York. And I know that has dual meanings. And just from speaking from some of the people who have the amazing opportunity to work for you, some of the new staff that you have brought on in Central New York, in this ridiculously innovative and creative way to look at staffing in our post-pandemic world. Pride in that you are absolutely instilling and encouraging and reactivating that lion mentality for some of the staff there, but also pride in that there's a different level of pride that staff team, and then hopefully it's spilling out in the community, is experiencing because that leader is so tenacious. So congrats on you.
Yes.
You're there. It's long overdue. I'm super excited. But talk about, in this pride mentality and going after and being aggressive, this new staffing structure that you have that I think many CEOs could learn from. You have senior leaders who are making critical decisions for your organization who are remote. They don't even live in your state. So talk to us
Yeah.
about that.
So I've always believed that people can work anywhere, even pre-pandemic. My experience with the Y in Central Maryland gave me even more insight on my ability personally to work remotely, and also some others who worked in that association. So coming forward, I thought it would be very much to our advantage if we gave talented staff across the country that opportunity. Along with the current staff that we have in our association, there obviously there's positions that require people to be on site, but there's several positions and opportunity for us not to be on site and get work done. I don't believe that one has to be in an office space in Syracuse to do the work of the YMCA of Central New York. You and I, Rod, we had that conversation before about me spreading my wings a little bit more beyond Central New York, downstate as they call it,
Yeah.
in your home
Yep.
city of New York City. So I really truly think if in this current climate of job challenges from a standpoint of everyone fighting for talent, you have to be creative and innovative. And
Yeah.
if you are looking for the most talented people, you got to be able to give up something of old tradition that to me truly wasn't working. So I think this is a better opportunity. And my staff know that, hey, I can go work in Tennessee. I can go visit my family if I want, and I could work still if I choose to, or I can just take the time off.
I love that. I love
cool.
that is really innovative. Just trusting people to do their job, giving them the space to do it in a way that is most efficient and effective for them, and then reaping the benefits
Right.
of that. And you have definitely garnered some amazing talent with that approach. Let me just say, because I know the folks and they're awesome.
You're awesome
They
people.
are awesome.
Now,
I know it's some other CEOs mad right now, like, dang, I was trying to get them. Yeah, you were trying to get them to move. That's what you was trying to do.
That's a different way.
thing.
And speaking of moving, you moved outside the YMCA and then you came back in. And I remember having a specific conversation with you to talk about your game plans. Like, I'm gonna go outside the Y, and I'm going to have a dominant position so that I can come back inside because of different jobs that you had applied for and didn't receive those. And now you're sitting as a CEO in Central New York. Can you talk a little bit about your decision to do that and that experience that helped you to be in the seat that you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I often talk to people about playing chess, not checkers, and being aware of the game board and making sure you're prepared for to 2-3 steps ahead of other people. So my decision wasn't an easy one. It took me a couple, I would say about 2 years to come to the conclusion that, hey, I got to do this because of what was happening in the Y world, where I was hitting the glass ceiling, concrete ceiling, bamboo ceiling, whatever ceiling you want to call it.
Whatever is made out of these days.
I hit it, and I made a determination that, hey, let me see if my talent is transferable into another area where I have some experience. That was education, and I chose to do so, and it worked out well. The funny thing was that the organization I went to, Mastery Charter Schools, is larger than any YMCA from a budgetary standpoint, larger than any YMCA in the country. A $250 million budget with 24 locations in 2 cities, 2 states. So that was very interesting that I could do that job as chief operating officer outside of the Y, and I couldn't be a COO in certain associations within the Y movement. That was very interesting to me, and in all actuality, it was a necessary move. I benefited from it. I believe Mastery benefited from it. I still stay closely connected to the Y. And when this opportunity for Central New York came about, I chose my name in the hat. But the funny thing is, some board members were nervous in Central New York because of the large budget and organization I was responsible for. They were nervous that he has such responsibility. We're smaller than that. Do you think he would come? And some were a little worried about how long I might stay.
Let me make that decision. I love the Y. I want to be in the Y. That's why I'm coming back.
It's not one thing. It's possibly another,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So in the magazine, in the Community Rec magazine, in the article Pride in New York, you really talked about your responsibility at the end of the day to make the best decisions about what the moves of Central New York will be in order that it will be a prosperous and thriving organization. And one of those things, one of those decisions you talked about was really investing in diversity. So can you talk to us about how are you divesting in that, and what do you hope will be the reaps and the rewards of that?
I think diversity, and people often look at it on one side. So it's the mission of the why, depending on where you are. It could be the mission of every why. And then you have the business case side of it. So I'm looking at both sides. In my time in Philly as VP of ops, but also DEI, I learned a lot about how to blend the two together. And coming to Central New York, it's more of an advantage of the organization to work in DEI because there's talent that we were missing. And there's people, talent in Central New York or in Syracuse and outside of the region that we could bring in to work with us. There were communities that we never served, and we're still working on serving them. In the city of Syracuse, where predominantly African American, Hispanic, Latino, and other people of color live, but they weren't working for us because they didn't see us as a pathway to a career. Changing that dynamic will allow us to get talent that is homegrown, but also allow us to reach into communities to serve them and impact them at a higher level. And that would also include some of our rural areas in our county that we have not served too. So for me, it's twofold. It's part of the mission. It makes the most business sense. And at the end of the day, as an African-American male, I believe in uplifting marginalized groups of people and making sure that they have opportunities.
Yes, I love that.
And you talking about opportunities, we just got back from Denmark and was a great experience for us. And on one of the podcasts that we did, there were 5 young people from your organization. You talking about change makers, man. You sent young people around the world
to be delegates, voting delegates. Like they landed in history by literally having a say in what the World Council structure looks like. It wasn't a bunch of conversations. It wasn't some abstract thoughts. It wasn't some, imaginary what if. Like, no, they got to vote who the president is, who the treasurer is. Like, they really got their voice to be heard at a high level. The youngest delegates in the whole conference, thousands of people, and the youngest ones came from Central New York.
I mean, next time, can you send us to? I mean, we had to squeeze our way in there. But I mean, I guess we just know Bertram Lawson. We just say we know
we with him. We with the lion mentality. Like, we with him. We with the pride. Can we come? And it's gonna be in Toronto, closer to you. I'm excited next time.
Yeah. I mean, what got you to the point, man, that had a young people to go around the world like that?
Well, youth development is centered to my why beginning. I started in day camp, and some people may not identify camp as youth development, but it truly is in my mind.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And as I continued on in that aspect of running youth development programs that some of the youth that were in Denmark participate in. And when I was asked by the staff team, could we send a group of young folks? I said, absolutely. We need to send a group of young folks. Who are we looking at? And this past year in November of 2021, my board voted to ratify our bylaws that included having 2 non-voting, for right now, youth representatives on our board of directors. And one of those young people was in Denmark, Matthew Roberson. He's the first youth or teen representative on our board of directors. We're looking to add a second person. So youth development is centric to me, centric to our organization. And we believe that, with Young Men's Christian Association, I know we don't use that anymore per se, but young people, regardless of gender, I think are important. They should be in those spaces and places because they have a voice. They can understand what's happening, and they can also help us understand where we go and what we should be doing or not doing.
Yeah, I love that. That's ratifying on the governance level, which is key. A lot of conversation around the country happening now about changes that need to happen on the governance level of YMCAs if we really are going to be intentional about diversity, equity, and inclusion and increasing opportunities for all folks. And of course, you are a leader in those conversations as well. So there was an equity summit that was hosted a couple of months ago, convening people from around the country to talk about just that. How do we affect equity and governance? Can you tell us how you really became interested in that space, and how are you moving to take concrete action steps in that governance space? Because that's not easy to get an organization to ratify its bylaws. That you don't just wake up on Monday and it's done on Friday. That just doesn't happen.
No. My interest in that is really, at the end of the day, board of directors for YMCAs are the true stewards of the organization, and they're around a lot longer than CEOs and some staff. But oftentimes they're not educated, trained, or developed to really truly understand the power that they have, but also the responsibility that they have, and how they have to set the pace for YMCAs. I've challenged the YMCA Central New York's board of directors of, do you want to be a board just here, or do you want to be a board that leads the movement? Do you want to be on stage? Do you want people calling you all to talk about what we're doing here? And they were like, absolutely, we can do these things. So it wasn't as hard to get them to move in that direction because they were ready. And it was really galvanizing the leaders that were already ready to move in that direction to do so. And I sensed that during my interview process with them, from a DEI to board governance. And I have the privilege of serving with a board of directors who are very much focused on doing those things. And it's not placation. They are really, really focused on making it happen, being intentional in regards to who we're recruiting to the board. They're not having a conversation, well, we don't know any of those people. We don't know where they are. They're saying, okay, I may not know, you may not know, somebody knows.
Right.
Now we need to find the people.
Right.
Because they live here. And from a governance standpoint, they have taken the stance of, we want to ensure beyond Bertram that the YMCA of Central New York is seen as a diverse, proactive, equitable organization from the board of directors down. So regardless who sits in my seat, they want to ensure that the day that I leave, that doesn't leave with, or the staff that I assemble, it doesn't leave with them. They want it to resonate with them as a board.
I love that. That's that legacy building. That's a great, they could absolutely begin to do some workshops and some trainings and some orientations, right, with other board members around the country to get them to kind of shift their mindset and think that way too. That's excellent. I love it.
So you've been there for some time. Like, what's the thing that you're most proud of right now that your organization is doing?
I would say I'm most proud of the fact that we have built a foundation that can enhance. We are an organization that is now truly being part of the New York community. We are being seeked to be at tables. When we convene a table, whether it's myself or some of my staff, people are coming to the table. Prominent key stakeholders in the community. I myself just got added to what we call Center State CEO, is the Director of Commerce for Central New York. So I just got added to the board of directors, and I had my first meeting yesterday.
Wow!
But we didn't have a seat there previously. So not only do I have a seat at that table, one of my board members has a seat because he's part of that board of directors. A fellow African American brother named Eli Smith. And then another board member, she works for that organization as a VP, and she is African American sister, who both are new class of our board. So you have two YMCA people on that board, and then you have one of our key board of directors serving in that organization. So we're getting called for those things. We're getting asked to be a part of those things. So I'm very excited about that, because we're no longer what I would say we were on an island, a self-imposed island. That we said we're going to be here and we're going to do the ancillary stuff, and we're not going to worry about what's happening really in our community. And I've shifted that perspective, and I'm excited that a tremendous number of our staff and board have bought into that strategic vision and philosophy.
Yes,
Okay,
I love.
nice.
This is why he gets a whole cover and a whole article in Community Rec magazine.
Yeah.
This is why. Like, that doesn't happen to everybody. Although I've had a cover. Have you had a cover?
You didn't have a cover.
I did, in fact, have a
You
cover.
shared.
I was
cover.
on there. I was on there,
you
and they
on
were
there.
talking about diversity stuff,
Yes.
which was what I do. I was on. Were you on the cover? You wasn't even in the background.
Yeah.
Is this a little bit of hate?
No. I'm just trying to correct what you're saying, because
Bertram and
you
I
compared yourself to
are cover
Bertram.
model.
You
Oh.
compared yourself to Bertram, as Bertram has the whole cover.
He does have a whole cover.
You was standing
It's
behind.
a good cover too. I
You was
said,
standing
look at
behind
Bertram.
somebody.
And now, for anyone that knows Bertram, if you go and look at the cover of Community Rec, like, that's a full blown smile for him. Like,
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
That was it right there.
It is.
That was a smile for Bertram.
Yeah.
I was excited when I saw it. I was like, yes, he's smiling. People were like, is he? Trust me, he is. He is.
Yes.
Well, man, you're out there making big moves, man. Appreciate the work that you
Yes,
are doing out there.
always
I
doing
mean,
amazing
continue to do powerful things, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's so many people are modeling themselves after you, are grateful for the doors you kick down and the truth you speak, because if it needs to be said at some point, Bertram's going to say it. Amen. Thank you, brother.
Amen and
we
amen.
appreciate you. So glad you are back in the Y movement. Missed you when
Thank
you
you.
were gone. Yeah.
Happy to be back.
And of course, thank you all for listening to Cosmetic.
On this episode called Line Mentality,
Wow.
featuring the one and only Bertram L. Lawson II.
Subscribe and listen to us.
And don't be shy, give us a 5-star review.
And as always,
Be dynamic
be phenomenal.
and be cosmetic.